All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for some real people out there just like you and just like me. All right, in this episode, I go yacht rock, hoisting the sail, swabbing the poop deck. Probably shouldn't use the word poop deck in a video, but I just did. Um, and then to talk about this, which arrived in the mail yesterday, my buddy Christian Gratz and the beautiful Leah Beth Evans. All right. Named, I believe, because of the Donnie Iris song, Ah, Leah. I think that is the true story. They're known as the Frost Duo. This is their EP. I would call it a small album or EP. It's called Play Nice. If you like the West Coast sound, this is it. This is like Sade meets Steely Dan meets, I don't know. I mean, I listened to it. It's very relaxing. It's so well produced, production value through the roof, just like on the Christian Gratz solo records that are out there, 1979, 1981, which are phenomenal. In addition to page 99, I've got the t-shirt and the movie and the hat. Not the hat. They didn't give me a hat, but I'd wear the hat. This is what the inside looks like. Folks, patronize, not just me for $1 a month, although that's, you can do that, but right here, if you can buy a physical copy or download some songs, at least go listen to the Frost Duo. I think you're going to really enjoy this. This is for people that don't like having their ears bleeding all day. This stuff is just great. You bring it to the desert island. You bring it to that oceanfront watering hole, and this is what's playing on the speakers, and it's fantastic. By the way, the Frost Duo are always out there touring, so you have to check out their website. Maybe they're near you, and you can go actually listen to some great music. Speaking of great music, and we did briefly mention Steely Dan there, Steely Dan kind of hanging on by a thread, according to some sources who have been out to see them recently, that Donald Fagen at times really struggling. It's interesting that there's Don Henley and Donald Fagen, right? Or Don Fagen. It's Donald Fagen, but not Donald Henley. But two guys named Don who are both alone as original members, piloting these juggernaut institutions from the 1970s, the Eagles and Steely Dan. In fact, those two bands were fierce competitors during the 70s, and you stabbeth with their steely knives. That's a reference to Steely Dan, in case you didn't know. Most people know that about Hotel California. They always wanted to be, Glenn Frey was always like, I wish I could write songs like Steely Dan, and it was Becker and Fagen. Unfortunately, Becker passed away a few years ago, and I think there was a lawsuit to wrestle control solely in the hands of Donald Fagen. Apparently he won that battle, and he's been out on the road ever since with his Steely Dan band. And look, Steely Dan, you can't say that, they were always the same band. That band changed a million times. The studio players who were intense and sought after musicians, those people, some of them are around today, and some of them are making their own noise in a band called Reelin' in the Years. Now, I'll get to that, but there's always a debate that's, out there. Do these bands continue, right? I watched a video the other day. People are outraged, that there's no original members in the band, or the band is embarrassing. Here's what I've been saying for a few years now. The casual fans really don't care. They don't. And for us traditionalists, for us geezers, or people that just, you don't have to be a geezer like me, you can just appreciate original lineups and go, yeah, nobody's better than so-and-so, right? And it's kind of true. And plus that's imprinted into your brain because it's still on the radio. So you hear Steely Dan on the radio from whatever year, you're listening to something off of Asia or pretzel logic, and it's really, you just can't. There's nothing really that is. I mean, there's some things that are okay, that are fairly close. That again, there are people carrying on the tradition, like these guys, right? And this is why you should patronize. The problem is that radio doesn't care. Radio just keeps beating this other stuff into the ground. So people are like, okay, I want to go see Steely Dan. And then they're disappointed. They're like, yeah, he didn't really sound like he did even 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And it's disappointing because it's not an accurate representation of what the band was. Now, in some cases, there are bands with 0 original members who go out there and they they represent the music okay. Enough so that the casual fans are just like, yeah, this is a great concert. I really enjoyed this concert, and they don't care. They don't care about who's in the band. Is that right? According to the original members, in some cases, it's not right. And people should acknowledge through their marketing who they are and what they're doing, and just get to the heart of it. But it's difficult because then you've got human beings, right, who are in these bands, who are trying to earn a living, who are trying really hard as musicians to accurately represent the music. And if either people are dead, which unfortunately this happens, obviously there's no way around the death part of it, or they're unable to sing the way they used to sing or play instruments the way they used to play, then what do you do? I mean, well, they should just hang it up. They should just quit. And then people are like, well, no, I'd like to go hear that music. Well, then just go see a cover band, or you could go see a tribute band, right? In some cases, the tribute bands do a better job than the original bands. Rumors of Fleetwood Mac, case in point, amazing. And this band called Reelin' in the Years, which features drummer Rick Marotta, who played on 3 Steely Dan albums. The guy is a beast. His brother Jerry as well. They're both in this group. Now, just as a side note here, the band is out there performing, and people are showing up in droves to see Reelin' in the Years. Now, hopefully the ticket prices are, not like $4,000 a ticket like they are to go see Bruce Springsteen. But here's an article from a television station, I believe somewhere in New York, might be in Syracuse. Yeah, this is the Northeast Jazz and Wine Festival. Sounds like a great time. I wouldn't mind going. Jerry Marotta is one of those popular and sought-after drummers. He toured with Peter Gabriel, Hall & Oates, and Tears for Fears. This week, Marotta is coming to Syracuse to headline the Northeast Jazz and Wine Festival with his tribute to Steely Dan called Reelin' in the Years. The band, Jerry estimates, has been together 5 to 6 years and has earned quite the following. He says, we get a pretty good turnout. People love Steely Dan. I mean, there is Steely Dan, who is still out there actively touring, but we're better. No, he doesn't say that. I do not know about recording. We are having a good time, though, doing the music of Steely Dan. We have a phenomenal group of musicians, and particularly our lead singer, Joey, is just incredible. Now, I went and watched a couple of videos of Joey with Reelin' in the Years, and holy crap, Batman, he is really incredible. Now, if you're looking for an exact replication of Donald Fagen, really, really tough to do. It's out there. There are guys that sound like Donald Fagen. I think Joey sounds a lot like Donald Fagen, enough so that, you're there to hear the music sung the way it was recorded with excellent musicians. I'm okay with this. And I think a lot of people in this day and age, maybe this festival is going to be too expensive for people because there are going to be a number of other bands, other musicians there. And so, you can check it out if you're in that area and see if this is going to be breaking the bank and draining your wallet. Anyway, They say we have a phenomenal group of musicians, and particularly our lead singer, Joey, is just incredible. Jerry's brother, Rick, actually played with Steely Dan on 3 of the band's records, which he believes has helped not only himself, but the band capture the Steely Dan sound. Now, this video airing on Wednesday, just to let you know, Reelin' in the Years will play this Friday, July 29th, 10 p.m. in Clinton Square. The Northeast Jazz and Wine Festival kicks off a little bit earlier that same day and continues through Saturday. And you can visit nejazzwinefest.org for more information about what bands are playing the festival. The point is, the bigger overarching point is, and I've been saying this for quite some time, is that whether a band is holding on, like a Steely Dan, like the Guess Who, like Foreigner, like Quiet Riot, like so many bands that either have just one original member or maybe even 0 original members, the debate is going to rage, and there's really no answer to the question other than, well, maybe these guys should hang it up because they're not representing Little River Band. Okay, sorry, got to throw them in there. But maybe they're not representing their legacy, or this is just offensive to me that there's nobody in the band anymore. There's one guy in the band and he can barely do what he's supposed to do. People are showing up, though. This is the big dilemma. And these are casual fans for the most part. Or they're reluctant old timers. They're old geezers like me, and they're reluctant. They're like, this isn't going to be as good. I mean, people even complain about Journey, and I think Journey is fantastic. They sound great these days. And they have, one original member, technically, right? But people won't think that because they don't date the band back into the 70s, but it's Neil Schon. He's it. Jonathan Cain came later. Greg Raleigh was there. He's not, some people are like, hey, it's not Journey. Some people are like, it's not Journey if it's not Greg Raleigh, Ainsley Dunbar, Neil Schon, and Ross Valerie, right? And throw George Tickner in there at the beginning. But that's not true. People kind of got into that band when they had a different lineup. So in the case of Steely Dan, they had numerous lineups, and mostly for their studio sessions, but they did use a lot of the same people repeatedly. The point I guess I'm trying to make is there's no real solution to this problem because promoters, they get a name. This is all, that's all this is. They get a name. It's a brand, right? We can keep the Steely Dan brand alive, even Reelin' in the Years. Well, I know about that song, Reelin' in the Years. Perfect name for this band because it dovetails. People go, oh, they must do Steely Dan music. It's really not difficult to figure out. So that's smart. And then that's the tradition. Rumors of Fleetwood Mac. It's weird how they even put of Fleetwood Mac in that. If I were Fleetwood Mac, I would have probably been like, but they get along. Mick Fleetwood's like, sure, go ahead and do it. That's no problem. You're keeping our music alive. He looks at that as a benefit because he's going to sell albums, right? Because the tribute band isn't putting out their own versions of these albums or songs. They're just playing the music, which, by the way, in today's world, that's where you make the money. Unless you're a pop star and you get 1 billion views on YouTube or something like that, you're not going to make money selling records for the most part, especially if you're into the classics, into the geezer material, right? So I'm just thinking that there's really no solution to this problem moving forward. I mean, you can have your own opinion on it and say, hey, I'm not going to go see so-and-so because they're lying. They're saying that they're this band and they're not this band, or they have no original members, and people are showing up. And it would be like this, and this is the Little River Band debate too. Like you're outside the stadium going, you're on a bullhorn saying, there are no original members in this band. They are lying to you. They are not the band they say they are. And then you go inside and the band does versions of the songs you hear on the radio. And again, this could be Foreigner, Little River Band. It could be whoever, it could be Journey, for crying out loud, with Arnell. And you're sitting there going, is this good entertainment? Is it not good entertainment? Is this accurate? Do I care? Can I have another beer? I mean, it's just, and the more beer you drink, the more you're like, hey, this is just like the original. I love these guys. They're the best, you know? Or, you know, the angry drunks show up and like, this isn't Steve Perry. I want my money back. So this is why I don't know if there's any solution to this problem. Let me just close with this, right? So the industry itself did this to itself for the classic music, the older music, because that genre could have continued. It stopped in the early 90s. And, you know, some would say during the 90s on the adult contemporary stations, you could still kind of hear that sound mixed in with all the whiny, slightly more alternative sounding music that was on the radio. But, you know, it was not Steely Dan. You're right. It was not Journey, although Journey made a comeback album, and sure. But for the most part, that music had faded away. Like certain artists like Boz Scaggs. Were you going to hear Boz Scaggs ever again? Even after, like, you know, what was that album? I'm trying to think. Middleman, like the early 80s. Were you going to hear Boz Scaggs after that on the radio? Greatest Hits album comes out. But then after that, you know, he put out an album, I think in the mid 80s. I really liked it, really well produced, but only okay on certain radio stations. You know, now it starts to get segregated, and the whole format, that whole sound just gets eliminated. You know, that's why I think yacht rock, whatever you want to call this, made this sort of underground resurgence. And then we were listening to all this music that didn't even get on the radio in 1979. People just glossed over it, missed it. There was so much product out there. And then people are going back and listening and going, hey, this is pretty cool. You know, how come this never got on that? You hear this, everybody says this. How come this didn't get on the radio? So to my original point, though, the industry shot itself in the foot and said, we're just going to market this kind of music, which was a big change because the music didn't have a good personality, had a real negative personality. Whereas this stuff here, again, I'll show the Frost duo again, give them a little bit more exposure. This stuff has a great personality. You know, it's like music and people. You meet somebody, it's like, hey, this guy, he's cool. He's upbeat. He's funny. He's harmless. It's like Harmless Dave, right? He's harmless. He's, you know, and here we go, right? That way of listening to music and being commercially viable has kind of gone away to a large extent. There are exceptions, but I'm just saying as a general rule. So, you know, we were supposed to get replacements to these old geezer bands. We didn't get the replacements. We didn't market the replacements. The replacements came and then they couldn't make money. And so they went underground, or they folded up shop, or they're struggling, they're hanging on. They're trying like heck to be relevant. And that's why I do videos where I talk about bands that nobody's heard of before, or bands people should at least hear. You know, why not? I mean, radio's not going to do it. And it's sad. It's because, again, 5-6 corporations have decided what you're going to listen to each and every day, which has made these geezer bands hold on because they keep playing the old catalog. They keep beating it into the ground. Something like 70 or 80% of the music that's out there is old music that you keep hearing over and over again. And so, yeah, is it smart to try to hold on to the brand if you're Mick Jones, or if you're, I can't think of, Wayne Nelson? I mean, yeah, it's smart because people want to hear this music. And for whatever reason, you've been left the keys to the car. Some people think those keys belong in someone else's hand. Some people think you should turn the keys in and put the car in the garage, and that'll be it. And that's where the debate really is. Should these bands just fold up shop? And, you know, you'll have really a resurgent tribute scene, like a real up and coming tribute scene where people work really hard to replicate the sound of the older band. And that's hard to do. Reelin' in the Years is a great example of a band that gets that. And there are other bands out there that do this really well. And, you know, if you talk about it too, some people say, are you talking about a tribute band on your channel? That's kind of goofy, right? Because, I mean, there are so many bands out there you could talk about. Yep, I am talking about a tribute band because the tribute band contains one musician who worked with Steely Dan for 3 albums, right? On 3 albums. So he kind of gets the sound. So he's got credibility there. And other guys just love to try to do what they do. There's a band in New York called Beginnings. Some people say they sound better than Chicago. You'll have to go listen and then make a determination. And when you have that eureka moment where you're like, wow, this is better. These guys are better. They're closer. The guy sounds like Peter Cetera, unlike, you know, the current guy who Lee Loughnane says is better than Peter Cetera, right? But that's just the band doing promotions for themselves. And good for them for doing that. They want to sell tickets and they want to convince fans that it's worth spending ridiculous amounts of money to go see them. Whereas Reelin' in the Years maybe on their own, you know, in one venue with just, you know, they're the only, in other words, they're the only band on the ticket, right? I'm thinking the tickets for Reelin' in the Years have to be cheaper than the tickets for Steely Dan. This jazz festival thing might be more expensive, but it could be worth it to you. So way long on this video. One more time on the Frost Duo. I know they're not paying me. You know, I get this all the time. These guys pay you. Yeah, they do. They send me the CD so I can use it in the video. So that's my payment right there. So I have something as a souvenir, something I can play in the car, even though technology allows me to stream anything I want to. Isn't technology great? You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. That's what they keep telling me. And I think it's a bunch of BS. Anyway, I own stuff. See, now I own something and I'm even happier. See how that works? All right. So I'm done with this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if I didn't chase everybody away. Hit the bell for notifications on new videos, and Patreon people for just $1 a month. That Patreon logo on the banner of the channel. Click on that. That'll bring you to where you can sign up for Patreon. Until next time, hey, we'll see you really soon. Next time. Yeah.